Hello there, this is Mr. K with Mr. K's Mowes Salvage. I'm making this video. I get a lot of questions. What do I do? And the short answer to that is I sell used riding lawnmower parts. So pretty much, if you can see behind me here, we take all of these riding mowers. Cub Cadet's probably one of the top mowers I get in, along with Craftsman, but we get John Deere's and Husqvarna's, occasionally Snappers. I don't do too many Murray parts, but I do get stuff in occasionally. We take them and we get them in all kinds of conditions. Some are excellent running as they are. Some of them, need a little bit of work, or maybe the engine's blown. Who knows? It could be all sorts of things. But anyway, we bring them in and we tear them all the way down to what I refer to as nuts and bolts. So that's kind of our stack of stuff that we got to take out of here soon. Just bad parts or rusted out parts, stuff that's no good. Or just stuff that I don't have space to hang on to. So we bring them in, we tear it all down, we take the good parts. I don't have any good parts ready to go to show you today, but and we sell those parts. So gas tanks, steering shafts, we tear down Briggs and Stratton engines. We'll be tearing that one down tomorrow probably. We sell crankshafts, cylinder blocks, cylinder heads, steering shaft, transaxles, gears, front axles, wheels, seats, throttle controls, throttle cables, batteries, you name it. If it's a front engine riding mower, chances are I've got a part you need. So that's kind of the gist of what we do. So just a little bit of backstory on me. I'm not a certified mechanic. I've not been to school for any of this stuff. What I do has just really came from experience. For about the last, I'd say almost 10 years, had been buying riding lawnmowers that needed a little bit of work. I was fixing them up, and then I'd turn around and sell that mower whole. And I'd done that for several years, and one thing doing that, if you're out there and you do that, some of these parts get to be really dang expensive to go buy a brand new part. And one of the first problems I had a mower that the starter was no good. Well, if you've ever looked up to get a name brand Briggs and Stratton starter, you're looking somewhere in the ballpark of $100 for that starter. So if you go and buy this used mower, say you buy it for $200 and it needs a new battery, you need to do just basic service, do an oil change, tune up, spark plug, air filters, and all that. All that stuff's going to run about $30 in materials. And then you need a new battery, and you can get a cheap battery for $20, $25 if you have the core deposit. If not, it's an extra $10 from any major retailer. Well, you put that expense on, and then you say you need a starter. That's $100 to get a starter. So this piece of equipment, this mower that you could probably sell for about $400, has now cost you couple hours in labor, and you've spent $150, $160 in parts. Doesn't make it worth the time to even flip it. Now if it's your personal mower, maybe then it'd be worth it to keep, but as far as being able to sell that mower whole, it wouldn't be worth the time dealing with something like that. So I was doing that for a little side hustle, and like I said, I've been doing it for about 10 years. I ran into a mower, I had an issue with the starter, had to replace the starter. Just barely broke even on that mower. Probably not even after you figure in my time to pick it up and meet people and list it and message back and forth, and people don't show up, and then they try and talk you down when they do show up. So I ran into that. Couldn't find a good used starter anywhere. Then I got a riding lawnmower and it didn't have a seat on it, and I still had to do all the basic service, and I thought to myself, man, somebody's got to have a good used seat out there. And people are still wanting $60, $70 for a torn up seat, let alone something in good condition. And you could go to Tractor Supply, you can buy a brand new seat, you kind of have to custom fit it, and you can get a brand new seat for about $70 at Tractor Supply. Moral of that story, I took a hit on that mower too, just barely broke even. So last year, this is August 2020, so last year in late July of 2019, I got a mower and I just could not get this mower to crank. I replaced the spark plugs, I checked the wiring, I jumped the solenoid, jumped the starter, I just could not get this mower to do anything. And I kind of had a choice. I was either going to sell it off as parts, as a parts mower, and I was going to take a bath on it. There was some parts on there that I knew were really good parts, so I decided to go ahead and I stripped it all the way down and I sold it part for part, and that's how Mr. K's Mowes Salvage started. I did it in my garage. I had nothing but hand tools, wrenches, hammers. I had a regular, a standard drill. I didn't have an impact or anything, and I tore that whole thing down. I had a small bucket, and I got some degreaser, and I cleaned the parts in a small bucket with nothing but a small little scrub brush and a hose. Cleaned all of those parts and started listing them part for sale. It took me probably at that time maybe 6 or 7 hours to tear down just the mower, not the engine. It was the first time I'd ever completely tore one down, and I did it all with hand tools, and then probably spent another hour or 2 hours on cleaning all the parts. Took a lot of time to do that first one, but anyway, the parts did really well. I was just blown away how well they did, and that's kind of where I started. People out there, you guys need parts to fix things. You need them at a reasonable price. I can sell my parts at a fraction of what brand new parts cost. Also doing what I do, I can come across a lot of rare parts. I've got a big garden tractor model Craftsman that I'm getting ready to tear down somewhere in the next couple of days. Has the high load trans axle on it, the 5-speed. Really good trans axle, really hard to find them. They don't go out very often, so it's not a real common part that people need to replace because they last so long. But when you need it, you need it, and so I get some rare parts like that, some gas tanks. If you ever broke a gas tank, finding some of them is a little tricky at times. Not to mention if you buy it brand new, I mean they sell for several $100s. A lot of the parts I do get that are your less common parts, a lot of the manufacturers, your American Yard Products and MTD and John Deere, some of these parts, they don't even make them anymore, so there is no original equipment manufacturer out there you even can buy the brand new part from. And then a lot of them you can't even find off brands or generic brands of them. So we take all those parts and we sell them. We tear them down and and ship them out of here. So I do most of my sales go through eBay. I have a bit of a clientele list built up here. I'm based out of Kingsport, Tennessee, so we've got kind of a bit of a clientele built up around the Tri-Cities area here. That's Kingsport, Johnson City, and Bristol, Tennessee. We're all in Northeast Tennessee, and I sell tons of tires. It's probably one of my biggest local sellers. I sell new decks. A lot of these decks have a tendency of getting rusted out, so when I get them in, they're in good condition. We'll clean them up, refinish them sometimes, and sell them like that at a fraction of what it would cost to go buy it brand new, and in a lot of cases at a fraction of what my competition even sells them for. My whole purpose is I'm in this to make money, and I want to turn a profit. This is my full-time job now, and but I want to be able to help people out. You have your personal lawnmower you need to fix. You need to be able to do it at a reasonable cost that justifies spending money on fixing it, opposed to going out and getting a brand new one. Or maybe you replaced your old lawnmower and you'd like to fix your old one up, and try and get some of your money back, being able to afford parts to do that. Or a lot of these other guys that do fix and flip whole mowers, being able to get them the parts they need so they can make money, so they can get these mowers out to people as well. One thing is you got to cut your grass, and so to do that, you got to keep your machine running, and keeping your machine running oftentimes involves not only good maintenance but repairing worn out parts. So that's what I do. I sell used riding lawnmower parts. I buy them. A lot of times people ask me where I get my mowers from, and I get them from everywhere. I get people calling me. I find some. I see them on the side of the road. I talk to people. I know people. I know people who tell people, and there's a lot of different ways I come across them. But that's it. So just had a lot of questions, specifically what do I do, and that's kind of what I do. That's my background with riding lawnmowers. I do all of this at home. Since starting up a year ago, doing everything with hand tools, I would say I've developed quite a bit, and we've evolved. And I actually have a wash sink downstairs, and nice brushes and cleaners to be able to clean these parts. And hopefully in a future video I'll be able to show you that a little bit. Be able to show you us tearing down some of these engines, Briggs & Stratton, Kohler, Kawasaki engines, what it's like tearing all those down. I do not work on other people's equipment. I get that question all the time. Do you fix mowers? No, I do not fix other people's mowers. I fix my own mower. Couple of very, very close friends, I will work on theirs, but that's the extent of it. I do not fix people's mowers. Sometimes I sell whole mowers. Occasionally I get one in that's just too beautiful, too nice, and too perfect, ready to go, for me to just strip it all the way down to nuts and bolts. But not very often, and especially as we're getting later in the season here, I probably won't do another whole mower for this season. Maybe. You never say never. But just some of my background, I've been in business management for probably about 15, 16 years, with a couple of large corporations, and I just had this big, beautiful opportunity last year to do this full time, and it really took off, and real excited about the future of it and continuing to grow. Always looking for ways to add some new product lines, mowers that people are looking for. I know Simplicity is a big one out there. A lot of people are looking for Simplicity parts. Unfortunately, the nicer ones don't usually come on the market. Usually the ones that do are, your 1970s models, and by the time you pull them out of the field, they're completely crusted down and just not really a lot there. Get a lot of people asking about zero-turn parts. It's a very slim market to get parts mowers for zero turns out there. I would get into it. It's just finding them. They don't come up very often. Not for a price that I could buy them for and be able to make anything off of them. So haven't really got into that yet. But hey, look me up. I'm on Facebook. Follow me, Mr. K Mowes Salvage. I'm probably going to get this video up on Twitter. Same thing, at Mr. K Mowes Salvage. You can look for me on eBay through either of those. I've got my links to my eBay store. Always feel free to reach out if you got any questions. Located Kingsport, Tennessee. Thank you. God bless you. Love you all.